Battlefield Bad Company 2 is a 2010 first-person shooter developed by DICE and published by EA, and this is my review a decade and a half after the game's release. I'm going to start my review by saying that I cannot comment on the multiplayer because EA is EA and they shut down the servers. So bummer there. Although I do seem to vaguely remember watching my friend play the MP on PlayStation 3 years ago, and I seem to remember thinking that it looked cool. And sadly, several achievements are locked to the MP, so a massive L here for greedy Electronic Arts. But that out of the way, time to discuss the single player campaign, which was overall pretty decent. I liked the story, and it was honestly better than I expected, so a big W there. It had some turns that I didn't see coming, and this title had some humorous dialogue every now and then, plus all the main characters were pretty memorable in my opinion, so this game gets good marks from me in the story department. And I thought it was really cool how this game started off with a level taking place during World War II, and that was possibly my favorite mission in the campaign. Now, the campaign was a bit longer than I thought it would be. I was expecting something similar in length to maybe Black Ops 2 or Medal of Honor Airborne, but thankfully it wasn't too lengthy and ended before it overstayed its welcome. As for gameplay, Bad Company 2 is overall a pretty straightforward FPS. Get from point A to B while fighting enemies who dare get in your way. You can hold 2 guns and 4 grenades, and this game has a very hefty weapons arsenal to choose from, giving you a healthy selection of ARs, MGs, snipers, shotguns, and even a pistol if that's your thing. Now, I must praise this title for how it handled your weapon selection. You can swap out your firearms at supply boxes scattered around the game, but you must first find a gun in the game before it's added to your crate, be it looting a gun from a fallen enemy or finding a rifle just lying around, and some weapons had variants, like different sights, different ammo types, or maybe even an underbarrel grenade launcher, and my 2 favorite weapons were probably the M95 Sniper and the Scar L. A little side note here, there are also a couple achievements linked to finding and using new guns, so that's a little extra incentive to go weapon hunting and to try out each firearm class. But while we're on the topic of weapons, I would like to mention that you can reload while sprinting in this game, something I did not expect, and this was greatly appreciated. Although some guns felt like they took forever to reload, which could be a tad bit frustrating in a tight spot. Moving on to talk a bit more about gameplay, Bad Company 2 did have some things I really disliked, such as brain-dead AI stormtrooper companions who were pretty useless, and it usually felt like I had to do all of the shooting by myself. Now obviously, I didn't expect my AI companions to do all the fighting, but they were laughably bad at times. I specifically remember one occasion in which the sergeant and the Texan dude had a Russian enemy cornered at point blank range, and they just could not shoot him. It was like in a cartoon where somebody shot everything but what they were aiming at. But in a nutshell, don't count on your buddies to be of any real help in this game. Another thing I wasn't particularly fond of was that your radar only really worked when it wanted to, which was slightly irritating. Plus, Bad Company 2 contains a lot of one-sided fog and smoke, which was insanely annoying. Like, there'd be fog or smoke in an area and you could barely see a thing, but your opponents could pinpoint you from half a mile away. Another thing I wasn't overly fond of was the head bob, which took a lot of getting used to. Now, swapping back to talk about some more positives, I was impressed with the good graphics in this game, plus the voice actors were really good in my opinion. The sound effects, especially for explosions, were really good as well. And now that I mention explosions, just like me on the can after Taco Bell, this game contains a lot of explosions, be it grenades, shooting red barrels, using C4, blowing up gas tanks, you name it, this game has it. But in addition to having a ton of explosions, Bad Company 2 has lots of destructible environments, which was great when you were trying to shoot some Russian baddies hiding behind a wall, but not so great when they were shooting at you while you were in cover. Anyways, I overall did enjoy the destructible environments of this game, like being able to shred walls with a machine gun, or blowing up an entire house with C4, which was just fun, because who doesn't like some good old-fashioned explosions? Now that being said, this did add some extra chaos to the game, and I did die several times while trying to scramble for cover to heal up, or needing to reload and being shot through a wall. But I'd say this adds some extra challenge to the game, and isn't something you get in an FPS like Call of Duty. Shifting gears, I would like to talk about vehicles. I'm probably going to tick some people off here, but I thought that this title had too many vehicle sections in it. Now I know that a lot of people love driving stuff in Battlefield, it's one of the things that the series is known for, but I'm just not too big into vehicle driving in games, and this title had several parts where you were either behind the wheel or just manning a gun while somebody else drove, but I personally preferred normal sections where you were just walking and running. Winding down my review, I don't have much else to say about this game other than I wasn't a huge fan of the soundtrack, but at least this title ran well performance-wise, and I do think that this game could have had a really fun co-op campaign, but oh well. In conclusion, with all things said, Battlefield Bad Company 2 was a decent enough game, and it earns a 7.4 out of 10 by my grade scale. I paid about $7.50 for a UCIB copy, and I'd say that I got my money's worth. Now a little note apart from my review, this game actually taught me a new word when I was a kid, as I watched my friend play it on PS3. I won't say what that word was, but I can personally say that this can be an educational game, as it helped expand the vocabulary of 4th grade me at the time. Anyways, as far as similar games I can recommend, I'm gonna say Modern Warfare 2 and or the Medal of Honor reboot. As for our Bible verse of the day, I read Psalm 111, verse 10, NIV. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. All who follow his precepts have good understanding. To him belongs eternal praise. Alrighty, I reckon that wraps up my review for today. Thanks for watching, I really do appreciate it. For any newcomers here, I mostly review and discuss video games, and I cover a lot of Xbox 360 games, so feel free to check out some of my other vids if that sounds like your thing. And I'll have some other game reviews of mine that you might like in the end cards. And feel free to request a game review in the comments, but please note that I can never guarantee a requested video. Like always, none of my content is ever made by AI, I make my own stuff, keep YouTube human, and I never consent to my likeness and voice to be copied, modified, and altered by AI in any way. Follow me on gameram for hints at upcoming vids and behind the scenes stuff. Have a good one, God bless, thanks again for watching and for tolerating my horrible narration, peace. Now I must praise this title for how it handled your weapon selection. You can swap out your firearms at supply